New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 32 Night 1 and Night 2. I'm going to do a combined show. Might as well bring it to y'all like that live and direct. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the almighty SOS Wrestling Network. So be sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Price of said subscription is $3.99. I am the Pro Wrestling Fly God. I am Stardust Yaku. So Night 1 and Night 2 both taking place in Hokkaido, Japan. Excuse me one second. Nectar of the Gods. Excuse me for a second. Night 1 and Night 2 in Japan. We have Block B and Block D going on. So without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to breeze through the preliminary stuff for both nights, but do them on each respective night. Night 1, we had Kosei Fujita taking on Tom Lawler. Tom Lawler got the win around 3 minutes 48 seconds via the New Kids on the Block, aka the NKOTB. So yeah, he got his victory over the Young Lion, which is to be expected. You in the G1, you better be beating the Young Lions here, and that's exactly what he did. Moving on, up the card, Jonah, second match, got the victory over Roya Oya, about 6 minutes, 16 seconds. Got the victory via the powerbomb. Night 2, his opponent's going to be Toriano, so Toriano was teamed up with Roya Oya right here. More preliminary stuff. Moving on, up the card, we have Jado, David Finlay, and Tama Tonga taking the L to the House of Torture. We got Yujiro Takahashi pinning Jado with the pimp juice around 6 minutes and 2 seconds right here. Like I said, we're going to have, I believe, was it Tama Tonga and Eva are going to be taking on each other here pretty soon. This is a match of people who hadn't faced off with each other who are actually not going to be on Night 2. So it's kind of interesting when we get those matchups happening. But moving on, up and down the card, Suzuki Guns, Taka Michinoku, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Lance Archer taking on the Bullet Club quartet of Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, Juice Robinson, and Kenta. Juice Robinson gets the victory via knockout punch, if you will, the left hand of God, if you will, over Taka Michinoku around 5 minutes and 55 seconds. They're putting over that Juice Robinson left hand of God. It's a death blow, and that's a good shout for Juice Robinson right there. Makes it to where you can finish a match at any time with said strike. So I like that. Moving on up the card for our last preliminary action, we had Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto of Chaos taking on and defeating Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito of Los Ingobernables to Japon. Like I was saying, the Chaos team gets the victory. Tomohiro Ishii over Bushi. Vertical drop brainbuster, 9 minutes, 53 seconds. What more can you say right there? Now we move on to G1 Climax, actual G1 Climax action right here. So the first G1 match we had Aaron Henare taking on and surprisingly defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi right here, man, in a match that really wasn't necessarily about star ratings. It was more or less about establishing Aaron Henare as a viable threat that he pretty much has to be, and I thought that was a good shout right here. So yeah, they established Aaron Henare as he's a threat in this block that he's in. No 5-star classic. Definitely accomplished what they're trying to accomplish right here. So excuse me. Moving on up the card, the next G1 Climax match we had was Will Ospreay taking on and defeating El Phantasmo right here. He got the victory via the Hidden Blade around 15 minutes and 6 seconds right here. This was a surprisingly great match right here. Started out really hot. They did kind of slow down a little bit towards the middle. They recovered nicely for the end. ELP pretty much worked babyface and, pretty much kept his usual stuff to a minimum right here, which I think helped his cause and his ton a lot in this match, and had a really awesome finish too with him getting the backslide, then getting the Hidden Blade. Thought that was a pretty excellent finish right here. Moving on up the card, we got Sonata taking on and defeating, or Sonata not taking on the defeating, but Sonata taking on and getting the L to Jay White right here. This is probably one of their least favorite pairings between these two of mine. They have a weird, almost borderline boring dynamic sometimes right here. And Sonata makes the ghetto interference spots look even dumber than usual, if that's even a thing right here. But by the end, it actually ended up being quite good. We had some really awesome near falls, and eventually Jay White got the victory via the Blade Runner around 18 minutes and 7 seconds right here. Can't be too mad at that right here. And moving on to the main event, man, we have Kazuchika Okada, the reigning G1 winner, taking on and defeating Jeff Cobb right here, to my surprise. I don't know. It was something different about this match. I don't know if I was just been watching a couple matches in a row, but it was something about this match that really didn't land with me. So they've actually kind of had a lot of matches in the last calendar year, but I think this one was probably the one with the most diminishing returns. Felt kind of like a Kazuchika Okada paint by the numbers main event. Not bad or anything. It was the solid match for night one. So that's what I thought about night one. I'm going to go ahead and move on to night two. So let's go ahead and talk about the preliminary stuff. David Finlay, Yoshihashi taking on, defeating Royce Isaacs and Tom Lawler. 7 minutes, 30 seconds. David Finlay got the victory via the Trash Panda. This was what it was. Solid opening tag team match. Moving on up the card, we had Taka Michinoku teaming with Lance Archer, taking the L via sudden death to El Phantasmo and Bad Luck Fale around 8 minutes and 21 seconds right here. Pretty much knew what was going to happen. Taka Michinoku taking that pinfall loss. It was what it was. It is what it is, and it is what it's going to be. Aaron Henare, Great-O-Khan, Jeff Cobb, and Will Ospreay taking on and defeating the House of Torturous Evil, Yujiro Takahashi, Sho, and Dick Togo. Ultima got the victory for the United Empire around 10 minutes and 22 seconds right here. Aaron Henare was actually the one to put Dick Togo away with that. Nice building up some momentum from Aaron Henare. You know he's probably feeling very, very cocky leading up to that, his next G1 CLIMAX match that he's going to have. So nice momentum for him. Moving on up the card for the fourth match, we had Jado and Tama Tonga taking the L to Chase Owens and Jay White right here. Got the victory via C-Trigger, 17 minutes, 15 seconds. This was what you thought it was going to be. Jado taking the L. Moving on up the card, we have for the fifth match, Hiroki Goto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada taking on, defeating Bushi, Sanada, and Tetsuya Naito around 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Tanahashi got the victory over Bushi via the high fly flow. This builds up momentum for him leading into his next G1 match after taking that opening day loss to Aaron Henare. So that is what it is. Moving on to the first G1 CLIMAX 32 action. Here we have Tomohiro Ishii, Taichi getting the victory via Black Mephisto around 15 minutes and 21 seconds right here. And this is an excellent start to night two, if you ask me. I'm pretty sure it's literally physically impossible for these two to have a bad match together. They keep adding in new spots when they get together too. Like Ishii bouncing right up from Taichi's little sumo takedown and destroying him with the shoulder block right here. Like I said, he got the victory via Black Mephisto. This was a highly regarded match, if you ask me. So moving on up the card, we had Toriano taking on Jonah. He got the victory around 9 minutes and 1 second right here. This really wasn't a very good match. It was kind of really mostly dull. I kind of like how they were establishing Jonah as a serious ass kicker who wasn't going to get caught up in Yano's tricks. But then they had him get low blowed and counted out like a geek anyways. So it's kind of just like, all right, whatever, bro. He's serious, but he still gets the wool pulled over his eyes. Whatever. Moving on up the card, we have Zack Sabre Jr. taking on and defeating Kenta via submission. 21 minutes and 33 seconds right here. This match fucked right here. Completely different match than the previous years. Almost all striking set on the mat. And easily had to match the tournament, in my opinion, so far. This finish was absolutely perfect and well built up too. So if you ask me, don't go out of your way. Go to your way to check this match out. This definitely is the match of the tournament to this point right here. So moving on to the main event of the show, we had Juice Robinson defeating Shingo Takagi via Pulp Friction. 21 minutes, 33 seconds right here. Heel Juice, in effect, I thought it was pretty good without necessarily blowing you away and, setting the world on fire. This match was good enough with some really hard-hitting action. I really didn't think it came close to the other higher-hitting matches on the show. Flat finish kind of really didn't help this right here. I was kind of hoping Juice Robinson would use his turn to reinvent his ring style, but at least from this match, it seems like he's just more of the same Juice. Just now, he just kind of cheats, which is really not obviously super interesting. But this was a solid match, so maybe he'll give that little cheating aspect or maybe add some new moves to his move repertoire will kind of help in the next coming weeks. So overall, I thought night two kind of blew night one away. That's just my personal opinion. They maybe didn't have the quote unquote stars, but on paper, like they had on paper, but night two I feel was the far superior night. So we got night three coming up, and we might as well talk about night three while we're here. See, night three, which is taking place on Wednesday. We have David Finlay taking on Yujiro Takahashi in a D-block action. Tama Tonga versus Chase Owens. Lance Archer versus Bad Luck Fale. And in the main event for Block C action, they actually have a multitude of blocks on this night. So Hiroki Goto versus Tetsuya Naito. So you know where to tune in for that show, the results, reviews, all that good stuff. We're the Almighty SOS Wrestling Network. Be sure you like, share, subscribe, everything. I'm the Pro Wrestling Fly Guy, Stardust Shiyaku, Bluntzy Naito. I'm signing off. Y'all have a good one. The first two nights of G1, they were solid nights. So I will check them out. But till then, adios.